some payoff with all this Punk stuff. As a matter of fact, this week in CM Punk, one of the favorite segments here on NotSam Wrestling, this week on CM Punk. And one of the reasons that we're talking about it is because it was addressed by Tony Khan at the beginning of the media scrum. He said there was an incident. I have no details to give on it. I don't have anything else to say about it other than we're investigating and we'll move forward. So, you know, like I said, one of the things, everybody in AEW, if you are in AEW, you at the very least should be actively hoping for the company's success. Everybody who works in AEW should be hoping that AEW succeeds beyond anybody's wildest expectations. And I don't see how leaking gossip the minute it happens helps anyone succeed. I talked about this last week, but it bears repeating because if there are unfair practices happening behind closed doors and somebody needs to know because it's not right what's going on, then yes, tell the world. But if CM Punk and Jungle Boy are getting into a fight, I don't see why this has to be everybody's business. But it is everybody's business because now it's been addressed. Apparently, who knows, right? That's the other thing. Telephone, telegram, tele-wrestler. There's like so many different versions of this story. But there was some way in all the hoopla and nonsense of the CM Punk rumors. Last week, one of them was that Jack Perry wanted to use a real glass bottle during one of his segments, even though he should use sugar glass. And CM Punk told him he couldn't use a real glass bottle. And there was heat. You're like, I don't even understand the story that you're telling me right now. Clearly, there are details that we don't know. Like, why did Jungle Boy want to use a real glass bottle so much? Oh, no, there's heat. Oh, okay, great. Heat. I'm glad. Thank you. Thank you for the heat. Look, we can still wildly speculate, of course, but I mean, when these stories are like logically, I need logic here. Okay. So this is why the heat is there, because Jungle Boy really wanted to hit himself with a glass bottle, and CM Punk said no, and you know, obviously Jack Perry's going to be upset about that. Why is that, Sam? I don't know. I have no clue. Maybe one of the journalists can help me. I don't know. And then on the pre-show, in a Jungle Boy hook match, Jack Perry takes a backdrop onto a car windshield. And I did think in my head, LOL, that's real glass. Because his arm and stuff was scratched up. Which, honestly, I'm sitting there going people shouldn't be bleeding on the pre-show. The whole reason the pre-show exists is just to get people to buy the pay-per-view. It's not, that's why, it's an infomercial for the pay-per-view. So if you're already bleeding on the pre-show, it kind of, nobody on the show should have to worry about following the pre-show. But whatever. He did a back body drop on real glass. And apparently, somehow, backstage, there was some kind of comment where, I don't know if Jack Perry, did it while he was out there and it was relayed to Punk, or he said it. I don't know. At some point, Jack Perry said something about it being real glass. And then there was apparently a confrontation backstage because the last match of the pre-show was Jungle Jack and Hook, and the first match of the main show was Samoa Joe and CM Punk. So apparently they crossed in that AEW gorilla position, and there were words. Some people says they were shouting. Some people says that fists were flown. I don't know. But whatever happened, CM Punk came out and wrestled Samoa Joe like nothing had happened. And so within the first 30 minutes of that show, CM Punk had already gotten into a brawl in, not a brawl out, a brawl in. And then he beat Samoa Joe with a Pepsi plunge. And then he came back, and I don't know if Jack Perry had left and then CM Punk left. I don't know. Neither one of them were at the press conference. But that's what's going on now. And I mean, it seems like there is an investment in making sure the world knows every time CM Punk gets himself into trouble backstage. It seems like there's a lot of stuff backstage that bothers CM Punk, and he's not worried about being vocal about it. It seems like there are, maybe CM Punk looks to wanting to be in some kind of locker room leadership role and feels disrespected by somebody like Jack Perry, who isn't just you got it, Mr. Punk. I don't know. I have no clue. But and then you're how does this one even get settled? Do we need a CM Punk versus Jack Perry match? That's not exactly a pay-per-view main event. God bless both competitors. Maybe on Collision or something. But, this is why it is imperative that we get into a real story with CM Punk. Not hey, he's best friends with FTR, so they're going to wrestle in 6-man tags. Not remember when he fought Samoa Joe, he's going to fight him again. Remember from Ring of Honor? Remember? CM Punk needs a real story. Something that you are tuning in to go, I want to see what's going to happen. We got a glimpse of that. The Ricky Starks stuff felt like it was starting to get there. But then it just came and went. And it's got to be a good story now, because every week we're going to get This Week at CM Punk, and there's going to be something else going on behind the scenes. It's not healthy for anybody involved. It's not healthy to be reporting to dirt sheets about everything. It's not healthy to be getting into conflicts with everybody. And it's certainly, if things are going to get public, it is certainly not healthy for the company. If things are going to get into public all the time and they're not going to be paid off on television. Everybody involved, everybody, from the people who are involved in conflict to the people who are reporting on the conflict within the company to everybody, needs to be thinking, how is this good for business? How do we make this good for business? When something goes wrong, how do we twist this so it actually becomes something going right? That's what I would like to see happen with CM Punk. Good stories being told and some kind of dirt sheet payoff, right? Because that way, at least, when the next time something leaks to the dirt sheet, we could all be skeptical and say, well, maybe they're just setting up an angle. Oh, maybe they're leaking stuff to set up an angle. But as of now, there's nothing coming off of this. It's like every week we hear there's something going on backstage, and every week it's like it's not happening when you turn on the television show. So, I don't know. I think there should be a thing in wrestling where if you get a microphone and you talk about somebody, it should be somebody that you're going to have a match with. And other than that, just do your job and go home. Do a good job. And if you don't like people, don't like them, but go home. There's people I don't like at work. I don't get into shouting matches with them. And luckily, when I do, there ain't some guy behind me that's like making sure the internet knows that I just got into a shouting match with somebody. I mean, what? A toxic train, and it's toxic gossip train. And it's too bad, by the way, that has to cloud this show at all. Because regardless of any of the drama backstage, I think All In should be looked at as an incredibly successful moment for everybody involved over at AEW.